And one local brewery has 2 locations here. Voodoo Brewery making its first mark in Meadville, and that's where we find Samiar Nefzi live this morning. Good morning, Samiar. It's a pretty tough job for you.
Yeah, super tough, Tracy, super tough. Good morning. Really fast, take a look at this production facility behind me. Look at this point of view. We are right now on the brewing platform where we find Mateo again, and he's actually going to walk us through the steps of how Voodoo brews. So, Mateo, take it away.
So everything begins with water. It's actually the most important component. So what we do is we treat and we'll manipulate the water chemistry depending on the beer that we're going to make. That's the first step. After that, we will take various grains. Mostly the base is 2-row, and we'll put it into a hopper, which is here. And we can put that even in there like up to the day before we brew, or we can even be putting grain in there as we're brewing for the next brew and do up to 2 or 3 in one day. Basically what happens is it'll take the grain and it'll put it down here. This is our hydrator or mash. Basically mixes the water that we've treated to the grains that we're going to be using for that particular brew. And after it's kind of married together, we transfer it over here. So this is the lauter, and basically what happens in here is we're slowly mixing the grain and the water to extract sugars. And once that is completed, we will separate the water from those grains and we'll transfer it to the vessel over here. That's basically our kettle. That's where you'll boil, and you'll also add any hops that are going on during the initial hopping of the beer. After that, we will then transfer over here to our whirlpool. The whirlpool is another measure where you basically will spin the beer around and extract anything into a true pile in the middle, and it's another way to kind of naturally filter the beer. We do not filter any of our products. The last step is we'll then transfer it to a heat exchanger, which is directly below us. It'll take that 200-ish degree beer and crash cool it to 50 degrees or somewhere in that vicinity, and we'll then transfer it to a fermenter. The fermenters have a conical bottom on them, the ones sitting over here. And the reason for that is once you pitch yeast and the yeast then eats that sugar we've extracted from the grains, it produces naturally the carbon dioxide and alcohol. Once it's done fermenting, we can pull that yeast out of the cone and reuse it for multiple generations.
So how long does that whole process take?
I mean, Sean, in a normal brew day here, he can have that process done in 6 hours, 7 hours. That doesn't include all the cellaring that goes into cleaning and sanitizing all the tanks and things you have to move beer around. Because every time you make a beer, you have to move a beer ultimately into a keg or a bottle.
Awesome. Great information. And coming up, hey, Tracy, we are going to explore that food truck, so stay with us.
Sounds good. Thanks for this inside look this morning, Samiar. Coming up next.